Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. All right, guys, today I'm going to be giving y'all a list of my 5 must-own running backs for the 2023 fantasy football season. Now, just before we get into today's video, I want to let y'all know I'm not going to be including any consensus first-round picks on this list. I can't stand when other fantasy content creators make their must-own videos and give you a list of all the running backs that are being taken in the first round. We all know that Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, etc. are consensus first-round running back picks. I'm not here to give you all obvious information and waste your time. These are going to be guys that are going at least outside of the first round, but in a lot of cases, middle or later rounds, and come at an awesome draft value. And one more thing before we get into today's video, I'm not going to be including DeAndre Swift on this list because I just talked about him in a video yesterday. But I do have him as a must-own running back this season. It's just that I talked about him yesterday, so he's not going to be included in today's video. But I'm going to give you my 5 most relevant must-own running backs for this season. First player on my list right here that I have is going to be J.K. Dobbins. Now, this is a guy, 200 career rushing attempts. So we have kind of a small sample size to work with, right? But in the sample that we've seen, the 2020 season, he averaged 6 yards per carry. The 2022 season, this past year, 5.7 yards per carry. Incredible yards per carry efficiency. Last year, he had a 10.9% breakaway run rate, meaning that 10.9% of the time, he ran the ball for 15 yards or more. That's incredible efficiency, and that's an incredible breakaway run rate. 10.9% of the time, he ran the ball for 15 yards or more when he got his opportunities. This dude is freakishly efficient, and when you look at his size, his speed, and his workout metrics, you understand why. This dude's, he's big, he's powerful, he's fast. This dude has the athletic intangibles to sustain a very good yards per carry rushing efficiency throughout his career. Is 5.7 yards per carry throughout his career sustainable? Probably not. Probably more like 5 yards per carry or maybe 5.1 yards per carry, best case scenario. But the point is, this dude's freakishly efficient. He's on a team that's probably going to be one of the best offenses in the entire NFL. And supposedly, Lamar Jackson is going to run the ball less as far as his design runs this year. That should mean increased rushing opportunities for J.K. Dobbins. Now, obviously, sometimes coaches just say things, but apparently Lamar Jackson is going to run the ball less this year as far as his design runs. I'll believe it when I see it, but if that's the case, J.K. Dobbins definitely is going to have more rushing opportunities for himself, and we know that the touchdown scoring upside is there because this team is going to be putting points on the board like crazy. They have the upside to be the number 1 offense in the entire NFL, so the touchdown upside is there. The efficiency is freakishly high. So I really love J.K. Dobbins this season. He's been nothing but awesome when given his opportunities in the NFL, and I think he's going to explode this year. Next player on my list is going to be Khalil Herbert. Now, this is a guy who deserves to head a backfield, but for whatever reason just hasn't gotten to do it yet. Anyway, last year, 5.7 yards per carry, 5.7 yards per touch, 3.29 yards created per touch, which is top 10 in the NFL. Very impressive metrics for Khalil Herbert. Now, obviously, we've got a small sample with this guy as well. 200-plus career carries, so kind of a small sample size, but in that sample, he's averaged 5 yards per carry. So this is incredibly impressive. And the team brings in D'Onta Foreman and says, hey, we're going to be splitting a backfield this year, which is what they've done to Khalil Herbert, his whole career. He really should have just taken over the backfield from David Montgomery last season, considering how much more efficient he was. And apparently he's going to split carries with D'Onta Foreman this year. But I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't believe it. I think that Khalil Herbert is going to take over this backfield. D'Onta Foreman, in a 400-plus carry sample size, has only averaged 4.3 yards per carry. This is not even remotely close to as efficient as Khalil Herbert is. And when you watch these two guys play, Khalil Herbert is the more electric player. He's more impressive just by the eye test. So I think that he's going to take over the backfield at some point. And we know that this team bolstered up the offensive line. We know that Justin Fields poses the biggest rushing threat on the entire team. So teams are mainly looking out for stopping Justin Fields from torching them with his legs. This is going to open up bigger running lanes for Khalil Herbert to run through. Thus, the efficiency could very well be over 5 yards per carry yet again this season. I love Khalil Herbert. I think the offense actually has some upside. So I think that Khalil Herbert will thus have some touchdown upside because I think this offense can actually put some points on the board. Next player on my list is going to be Rhamondre Stevenson. Now, of all the players that I have on this list, this guy has the highest consensus ADP. So you're going to have to invest some draft capital to get Rhamondre Stevenson. But there's a lot of times where this guy's slipping to the 3rd round. And I don't understand why. In fact, I have Rhamondre Stevenson as my number 4 running back this season. I think he's going to finish top 5 at the running back position. I mean, we've got a guy who's 5'11", 230 pounds. He's built like a workhorse. He's got the size and durability to command a 3-down workload, and that's very much what's going to happen this year. He has absolutely no competition for touches in the backfield. He's going to be one of the few true workhorses that we have in the NFL. He saw 89 targets out of the backfield last year. This was third in the NFL. This dude gets Alvin Kamara-like passing volume out of the backfield. He had a 17.3% team target share, which was top 5 in the NFL. 5.2 yards per touch, 3.43 yards created per touch, meaning after bouncing off that first tackle, he was creating 3.43 yards on his own on average. This is incredibly impressive. He had 113 evaded tackles. You guys get it. This dude's efficiency metrics are freakishly good. The volume coming his way is going to be some of the best in the NFL as far as his rushing volume and especially his pass-catching volume out of the backfield. So that, and considering the fact that this dude is just one of the more talented backs in the league, I'm fairly certain, I've been saying that since I saw him play in his rookie season, this dude's going to blow up this year. He's slipping to the third round. He can easily be a high-end running back 1. Next player on my list is going to be Zach Charbonnet. Now, this is a guy, his last year in college, had 37 receptions and put up a ton of receiving yards and just showed to be a way better pass-catching back than he had in his previous college years. This is a very good sign, especially considering the fact that Kenneth Walker is not known to be a pass-catching back. So I think it's very, very likely that Zach Charbonnet gets by far more targets out of the backfield in this offense than Kenneth Walker. So that, and considering the fact that he's got more of the true 3-down back build at 6 foot, 215 pounds, I like him to command a significant workload in his backfield in his rookie season. I mean, they drafted him in the second round for a reason. I think that the workload is going to be split up pretty evenly between these guys. Obviously, Kenneth Walker is faster and more electric and has better big play ability than Zach Charbonnet, but Zach Charbonnet is the bigger, more bruising back that's going to run over people and stuff like that. And, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be the pass-catching back on the team that, that eats up all of the targets out of the backfield. So that, and considering the fact that he's going like 90 spots later in the draft than Kenneth Walker, I would just go ahead and fade Kenneth Walker early and draft Zach Charbonnet, because there's going to be plenty of weeks where Zach Charbonnet outperforms him from a fantasy perspective, mainly because of the fact that he's catching all the passes in the backfield. And from a season-long standpoint, it is not impossible for Zach Charbonnet to have more fantasy points at the end of the season than Kenneth Walker. So considering the fact that he's going so much later in the draft, I would just fade Kenneth Walker and draft Zach Charbonnet. Next player on my list, final player I have here, last player here is Isaiah Pacheco. Now, this guy is 5'10", 215 pounds, built like a brick house, runs a 4.37 40. How in the world did this guy slip to the 7th round of the draft with these kind of size, speed, and workout metrics? His efficiency has been nothing short of amazing since coming into the league. Last year, he averaged 4.9 yards per carry, which is top 10 in the NFL. He had 830 rushing yards despite not really being the guy until the second half of the season. So, I have very good reason to believe that this dude will rush for over 1,000 yards. That's minimum. I think he has the upside of more of 12 or 1,300 rushing yards. Now, some people are afraid to draft Chiefs running backs because they know that, when the Chiefs get in the red zone, they're just as likely to run some sort of trick play or jet sweep or pass the ball to Travis Kelce when they're on the 1-yard line, as opposed to feeding their running backs. Well, I agree with that, but in the Mahomes era, they have not had a running back as good as Isaiah Pacheco yet. So I think that this guy is going to command significantly more rushing volume and passing volume out of the backfield when the team is within the 5-yard line and very close to scoring a touchdown. So I think that this guy's goal line opportunities are going to be a lot more plentiful than Clyde Edwards-Helaire and other running backs they've had in the past. In the Mahomes era, he's clearly taken over the backfield from Jerick McKinnon. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of competition for touches. This guy's going to get a 75% opportunity share in this backfield to Jerick McKinnon's 25%. That should be about what the allotted workload should be. So the workload's going to be there. The talent is unbelievable. This dude is one of the more electric backs in the league. He's definitely going to head a backfield one day all on his own. That could very well happen this season. This dude has high touchdown upside due to being in a great offense. He's going to have awesome efficiency yet again. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't draft this guy. On top of that, you look at the AFC Championship game this past season against the Bengals. That dude had 6 catches in the AFC Championship game against the Bengals. So we're also going to see, I think, increased passing work for Isaiah Pacheco this season. So he's going to command some pretty good targets out of the backfield. So I like him as a dual threat back this season. Dude's going to explode. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks you for tuning into the video, and I'll catch you later.